Hello everyone, I'm Grandma Marrianne. Thank you very much for joining me this evening for our bedtime Bible reading. Now last Sunday was a very special Sunday and you had a very special story. But you may remember that we are following the Bible history of the people of Israel. They had been led by Moses and Joshua into the Promised Land. There they had problems with their neighbours, the Philistines. The people noted that other countries had kings, but they were led by the prophet Samuel. He was a jolly good prophet, but they wanted a king as well. So they had chosen Saul and made him king. But after a while they got grumbly, and they said to Saul, "Please, will you find us our next king, a better king, God's choice of king? We don't need him right now, but when King Saul finishes, we want the next chap to be ready lined up." So Samuel had a word with God. Prophets can do that. They can speak to God and God gives them an answer. God told Samuel to go to a big landowner in Bethlehem called Jesse and select one of his sons. "How will I know which one?" asked Samuel. "I'll tell you when you get there," said God. "King Saul might find out and be cross," worried Samuel. "Make it into a service of blessing," God replied. So Samuel went to Bethlehem and visited Jesse and told him to assemble all his sons for a blessing. So Jesse did so. Then Samuel blessed Jesse and called up the sons one by one. Each time he blessed a son, he asked God, "Is this the one?" And God replied. Now the conversation went something like this. Samuel would say, "This one? He looks superb." God, "No, don't look at outward appearances, or how strong or how weak they are. I am selecting a king for the future. So consider their heart and their mind. Are they caring and wise?" Son number 2. "Well, God, this one looks kind." "No, not him," said God. Son number 3. "This one looks crafty." "Certainly not," said God. Son number 4. "This one looks far away." "No dreamers," said God. Son number 5. My goodness, didn't he have a lot of sons? Son number 5. "Well, he's a toughie." "You must be joking," said God. Number 6. "He may be weedy, this one, but I expect he'll grow." "And bend in the wind," said God. Son number 7. "This is the last one," said Samuel, "so I know it's him." "No, it's not," said God. "See if there is another one." So Samuel asked Jesse if he had any more sons. "Well," said Jesse, "there's only young David. You won't want him. He's only a boy. He's looking after the sheep." But Samuel was very firm. "I asked to see all of your sons, so send him to me at once." Well, they all waited. They had a drink and then a snack, and they waited. At last, in came David, out of breath. "Oh, sorry to keep you waiting, Father. I jumped on the messenger's horse and galloped all the way." "David," said Jesse, "I would like you to meet our great prophet Samuel." "Oh, sir," said David, kneeling before Samuel, "I am greatly honoured to meet you." All his brothers jostled and winked at each other. Ooh, what a joke! No one would want our kid brother, they thought. But God was delighted. "This is the one," God told Samuel. So the prophet took his flask of holy oil and anointed David and blessed him. Then the Spirit of God entered David, and it never left him. He was blessed for life. Meanwhile, back at Saul's palace, things were not going so well. Saul was ill with a bad black mood called depression. It not only made him feel ill, but he was frightened of how he felt as well. Saul's advisers said, "This awful depression is making your life miserable, O master. Let us help. Let us look for someone who can play the harp. Now then, when these black moods move in, he can play his music for you, and you will feel better." Saul told his servants to find someone who could play well and bring him to the palace. Well now, I wonder if you know what a harp looks like and what it sounds like when someone plays it. I've got a treat for you. You're going to be able to watch now as someone plays the harp. I do hope you enjoyed that. One of the young men spoke up. "I know someone. I've heard him myself. David, the son of Jesse of Bethlehem. Excellent musician and a splendid young man, and God is with him." So Saul sent a message to Jesse, asking him to send him his son David. So Jesse took a donkey, loaded it with presents of bread and wine and a young goat, and sent it with David to Saul. When Saul met David, he liked him immediately and made him his right-hand man. Then he sent a message to Jesse, telling him that he would keep David in his palace. After that, whenever the bad depression tormented Saul, David would take his harp and play for him. The music would calm Saul, and he would feel better as his moodiness lifted, and he would fall asleep. So that is how David came to live in King Saul's palace. Shall we say a prayer before we end? Dear God, who gave us the wonderful gift of music, let us appreciate the power it has to make us feel not only happy, but better and calmer when we are ill or sad or angry. Amen. Well now, I hope you'll come back next Sunday and hear the next part of the story. But in the meantime, I think we're going to have some more harp music before we all finish. Goodbye. See you again soon.